What is up, everybody? It is Glenn back with Big Jack, back with a best bets of the NFL Week 1 video, 2025 NFL season. Big Jack, does it feel as good for you as it does for me to be back?
Best, the absolute best, man. It's a little. The only downside of this time of year is you do feel like summer is slowly drifting away. But the way things have gone, I feel like hopefully we get a decent fall weather-wise. Can still get out on the golf course here and there, enjoy that sort of thing. But nothing better than football, man. Breaking up the week, getting that Thursday night game, Monday night game. Weekends are locked in. It's a wonderful time of year, and it feels like for whatever reason that the off season was longer than it ever has been, and yeah, it's good to be back in the saddle.
Gotta love football season. Gotta love it. Hoodie weather. The sun goes down a little bit earlier, but it's those crisp fall nights. Love everything about it. That being said, we're back with our bread and butter. The NFL Best Bets videos. It's what's made us famous. It's what's going to continue to make us famous. Continue to make our channel grow. I'm going to let you lead off this season with the first pick. What is your first pick of the NFL in Week 1?
Yeah, definitely. It's just we do those little preview stuff to kind of get something rolling, but those are almost like uncomfortable in a sense. It's not the usual rhythm that we're sort of used to. So yeah, it's good to really dive back into the picks, baby. I'm gonna start with the divisional game in the NFC North. I'm looking at Packers, Lions. Lions are getting 2.5 points on the road, tight game. Packers have kind of, they've played well against the Lions in years past, even though the Lions have been, winning the division year in and year out. But I'm going to take the 2.5 points with the Lions. I kind of said it when we talked about the NFC North. I still think the division runs through Detroit. I know everyone's super high on the Packers, especially after the Micah Parsons deal. They were high on them before that. They're an analytical darling, but I think the Lions are going to be a good team. It's a little bit of unpredictability, a little bit of question marks with what's going to happen with, all the exodus of the coaching staff, a little bit of loss on the offensive line. They're largely the same team that won 15 games last year and almost made the Super Bowl for not a second half collapse the year before in San Francisco. So I still think the Lions are going to be strong, and I like them to cover that 2.5 Week 1. To that end, it is Week 1. I say there's unpredictability with the coaching staff and how that team's going to look moving forward. Maybe they're not as good over the course of the season, but everything's unpredictable this week. There's not a lot you can truly rely on as far as data points go. So I'm going to go with the Lions plus 2.5 on the road in Green Bay. It's actually plus 2.5 minus 105 as I lock here.
Interesting pick. I will be steering clear of that completely. I don't have the same confidence in Detroit still being the same team from last year. I think those coaching losses will matter more than most think. On the other hand, I think the Packers will be pretty good. I don't think Micah Parsons is going to be up to full speed this week, and that is a factor for sure. But I'm away from that game. I don't like that game at all. Going into Lambeau, tough place to play. I could see it going either way, but I'm out on that one. My first pick of the week, I'm going straight to the gutter, going to a team that might be the worst in the NFL, at least in the eyes of a lot of people. I'm going to go to New Orleans and take them plus 6.5 in Arizona, or actually at home versus Arizona, excuse me. I do think the Saints, while their quarterback situation leaves a lot to be desired, I actually think they can be halfway decent elsewhere. I think they will play the Cardinals tough. I don't think the Cardinals are going to be as great as their 8.5 over-under win total. If you watch the divisional videos, I think they're one of my best bets is they're under on that total. I like New Orleans to play them tough Week 1. If they're going to be bad, maybe they're just going to play hard early in the season until they figure out that they're bad. I like New Orleans plus 6.5.
Yeah, Kellen Moore debut as a head coach. I'm sure he'll have the boys fired up for that first game at home, which always helps. Basically a touchdown dog at home. That's quite a lot of points, especially for a team like the Cardinals, who I think we agree is not that great. I love a gutter game as much as anybody, but I'm staying away from that one myself. The only thing that concerns me on that side is the Arizona Cardinals, as bad as they have been somewhat, these past couple of years. they usually do get off to pretty solid starts and flash some stuff early on in the season. Maybe not that first year with Gannon at the helm. They kind of were the opposite, where they looked horrible early and got better as the season went along. But usually Kyle Murray gets off to those fast starts and kind of peters out over the course of the season. So, I don't love
once
them week one.
Once a Call of Duty drops, then he falls off. That's the running thing.
Allegedly, baby, allegedly. I'm not going to put that on him, but he should have played baseball. I think he could have been a hell of a baseball player. No, that's solid though. We'll see how it plays out. It'll be always good to have those ones because sometimes they're ugly, but when you got the lock, the rooting interest there, it keeps you dialed in. My second game, I'm actually going to turn to the Friday night fight, baby. We're going down in Brazil, if I'm not mistaken, is where they're playing this one again. Another divisional game. A lot of them are this week, but I'm going to take the Chargers +3. Like I said, it's obviously a neutral site, so the whole home-away thing is, not really a factor whatsoever. But I'm going to take them +3. It's also +3 -105, similar to that Detroit number. This is one where it's kind of my classic. It's a tight line. It's burned me. I would say the past 2 years, it seems like there's been a lot of public success on sort of the obvious picks. But I'm going to go Oppo on it. I'm going to take the Chargers +3. I think they run the ball, typical Jim Harbaugh. I know they lost their left tackle, but I don't think it's going to be too big of a detriment to them. I think they'll still have a pretty solid line and do a good job controlling the game. And, I think over the course of time, I do think that the Chargers the Chiefs are still going to win that division. I think that'll pan out, but they just always play close games, man. And I don't know if they're going to get as much luck to break their way for another 15-win season the way that they did last year. And I think, sneaky, kind of like Chargers money line, but I'll take the 3.
Interesting pick. I can't touch that game in Brazil. I don't know if you remember last year. I think it was Philly and Green Bay played in Brazil. The surface was just in rough shape. Keep an eye on the over in that game, I guess, but I'm going to steer clear of it for betting purposes. Interesting line. I do feel like they're hoping that people are going to be betting Kansas City, so I do like the angle there. But all right, my second pick of the week, something that you've laughed at me for, a team that you think I love. You just think I love them. Not Seattle. I think San Fran's got so much preseason hype to bounce back, go from last to first in the division. I think Seattle's going to be tough, and they're playing them at home, +2.5. Give me the Seahawks. Give me Sam Darnold to prove something, that it wasn't all Kevin O'Connell, that he had a little comeback himself. I think Seattle, across the board, is a pretty well-built roster with maybe the exception of a couple pieces on their offensive line. Obviously, you'd like to win up front, but I think they got enough to do the job. I think the story here after the game is going to be, do we have questions about San Francisco's defense? That's my prediction right now, but my bet is Seattle +2.5 versus the Niners.
Well, to be fair, I don't think you love them. I know you do. You pick them all the time. You pick them to win the division every year. I don't know if it's like a lean by me. I think it's just kind of a fact at this point.
Fair enough.
But no, I don't. That's another one similar to what we were just kind of speaking about with the Chargers Chiefs. That's just another line where, it's these 49ers seem like a layup. And like I said, the past 2 years, a lot of times those ones that seem like layups have been. So maybe we both get burned a little bit there. But yeah, I mean, I got a lot of respect for Mike McDonald. I think he has potential to be a pretty damn good coach in this league. So we'll see what they bring week one. I think they'll lean in on the running game. Who did they bring in? Is it Clint Kubiak is their offensive coordinator now? They got some things going on up there. I'll be interested to see the Sam Darnold experiment. My third and final pick, I was kind of all over the place on this one. There's a part of me who couldn't look away from attacking the Bears week one, but I know that was a lot in my heart. I also like the Sunday night game. Obviously, Bills-Ravens going to be marquee. I just think that's another thing where it's like the Bills are only laying a point at home. Are the Ravens going to go in there and take care of business? Maybe. But I'm actually going to New York Jets, Pittsburgh Steelers. Similar to what you just kind of said about the Seahawks. You were joking about how you love the Seahawks. I think it's no secret that I love the Steelers this year. I think they roll into New York and put a whooping on the Jets. You know, it is 3 points, once again, minus 102, so getting some good value there, a little bit closer to even money. I don't know. I just think the Jets are going to be really bad. Maybe they get a little bit of a pop from Aaron Glenn, you know, that first-year coach deal that we always talk about, but I can't see that team being any good at all. I think the Steelers are going to come out motivated, hungry, ready to roll in week one. Being in that division, they don't have a lot of easy weeks. There's no easy weeks truly in the NFL, but especially when you're in the AFC North, they know they got enough veteran guys where they know they got to take care of business and not kind of keep anyone in a game where anything could happen. I think they'll be ready to rock and roll week one. I think they go into, New York or East Rutherford, New Jersey, rather, and sort of slap them around.
I like that pick a lot. I love Justin Fields still to this day, but I just don't love him as a NFL quarterback. He's proven that he just isn't it. I like Aaron Rodgers and the boys going to New York, putting up more points than the Jets can, and covering that 3 points probably pretty comfortably. My last pick of the week is not in that game. Another preseason darling, in my opinion. Team getting quite a bit of hype is the LA Rams. So I'm going to go oppo them. I'm going to go Houston +3. Going to LA, getting the job done, keeping that game to less than a field goal, maybe win outright. I like the Houston Texans. I think they're a team that should make the playoffs this year, should win their division. They get it started with a nice, I'm going to call it, win against the LA Rams. Stafford, he's a stud, but didn't really have a camp, too much of a camp. So I like the Texans to start out better than the Rams do this year. If this game was week 11, might be a different story. Week 1, I like the Texans. +3 at LA Rams.
Yeah, I got nothing bad against that pick. I think that's sneaky one of the best games of the weekend, honestly. I think that Houston defense is going to be really good. I know a lot of people are giving Will Anderson a shout for a potential defensive player of the year. I don't know. I think that's going to be a hell of a game. There's a lot of sexy games out there. Maybe that one isn't catching everyone's eye, but I could see that having the potential to be the best one of the weekend for sure. So
couldn't agree more. Should be a great game to watch. It's great to have the NFL back. Quick recap for everybody before we end the video. Big Jack is on Detroit +2.5, the Los Angeles Chargers +3, and the Pittsburgh Steelers -3. I am on New Orleans +6.5, Seattle +2.5, and Houston +3. Let's get some winners. Maybe we win a parlay week 1. Who knows? But like and subscribe if you're new. Hit the bell so you get notified when we upload videos. Big Jack, hit it for him.
Bears.